I have been on stage for over 30 years now, and it has become my second home, my safe space. For me, it is the place where emotions, intellectual ideas, and a vivid communication with the audience unite and create an experience without any time limits. I clearly remember the first time I was on stage. I was 5 years old, and I had a small kid's role in the opera Madame Butterfly by Puccini. My mother, a former opera singer, has brought me regularly with her to rehearsals, costume fittings, and vocal trainings. I realized quite early in my childhood what it meant to have a disciplined life of ongoing rehearsals in order to perform. My role in the opera by Puccini was short and very simple. I only had to walk once, together with the main character while she was singing. But these couple of steps gave me the opportunity to enter a magical place, the stage. Suddenly, everyone I knew from backstage, opera singers, orchestra players, technical workers, were all united into one goal, to give the best possible performance and share it with the audience. This mini universe on stage made us part of a creative world, different than our daily life reality. I fell in love with this world, with the idea of communicating with others through music and sound. I didn't become an opera singer, but this early childhood experience had a very big impact on me. Throughout the years, I have been searching in the piano literature for sound that resembles the human voice. I would like to share now one very good example of that with you. I will play a short excerpt from another opera, Norma by Bellini. One can hear the many ranges and possibilities piano has, and how one single instrument can sound as powerful as an orchestra and as intimate as a human voice. It is also one of my favorite arias, so I'm very happy to play it for you. One connects very often the term classical music with elite culture or sophisticated understanding. Yet, my long years of experience on stage have taught me that the biggest power of music and a live performance is when one feels united with the audience. It is pure communication without hierarchy. A glimpse of a moment that can happen unexpectedly on stage can leave a deep emotional impact on both performers or listeners. But it is a long way to go before reaching this level of freedom on stage. Besides many hours of practicing, one needs to gain experience in memory training and develop emotional capacity. It is a disciplined life that needs consistency, and it is very often connected with many hours spending alone. Luckily, I always enjoyed practicing, but there was something else I quite struggled accepting. The competitive side of this profession was always very unappealing to me. Classical music education is quite strict and combined with many competitions from a very young age. This process of development resembled to me more sports achievement rather than an artistic experience. That was one of the reasons I almost stopped playing the piano at age 13 to 15. But taking this break made me realize something very important. Music was already part of me. Piano had become my inner voice. I didn't need to be on stage in order to enter this magical place I fell in love with when I was a kid. I was carrying it with me, and through piano, I could express it and share it everywhere. This realization kept me going in difficult moments of my life. My teenage years were marked by the crisis in Bulgaria in the 90s. In times of insecurities and unclear future, I had to take the hard decision to move countries. I chose Vienna, and yes, it is the dream city for every classical musician, but still, leaving my culture and my family behind was a hard transition to make. But music gave me hope. Piano was my inner balance. I started looking deeper into the meaning of performing arts. This is when the deep shift happened to me. I realized that being a concert pianist doesn't necessarily mean I only must stay in the classical music field. I started exploring the connections between piano performing art, literature, philosophy, contemporary art, and even science. By doing that, not only did I expand my horizons as a concert pianist, but I also made classical music more accessible. The concert programs I create have their own dramaturgical concepts. The audience is captured by the concept and starts listening more actively. This is when the communication between a performer and a listener begins to happen. In the last couple of years, I started doing my own research and looked for composers who were associating their music with scientific methods. The next piece I would like to play for you is by a composer who wanted to be both a musician and a scientist, György Ligeti. His groundbreaking compositions are characterized by microtonal harmonies and rhythmical complexity. He was inspired by fractal geometry and chemical structures and reflected them in his scores. Scores that look so complicated, almost like an impossible labyrinth. I will play one of his etudes for piano, which are famous for their extreme technical difficulties and intense dynamics. It starts off as minimalist music with repetitive patterns that builds into multi-layered musical piece of art. It's fascinating, really. My recommendation to the audience while listening to Ligeti is to switch off the traditional way of perceiving classical music and allow this unique combination of sound to lead you to unknown territories. we've heard so far two very contrasting pieces. One provoked our emotions, while the other one created more intellectual perceptions. This is just a very small example of how versatile classical music can be. I see in it a big, unexplored potential. Looking back at my artistic development and years of research, I can clearly say that piano performing art is a powerful way to reflect our reality. A reality that is not only beautiful music and magical places. It is the vulnerability of our existence, the fragility of our emotions. Feeling that vulnerable while listening to music and sharing it with others being on stage or in the audience makes us united. We become fearless in the moment. Piano performing art gives an opportunity to everyone to create their own personal safe space. It is high level of shared emotion. I would like to end this talk with music because I still believe that I can express my thoughts and ideas better with piano rather than with words. We return back to the singing voice in the piano literature. I will play a song by Schubert that doesn't need words.